The former captain of the German national team had a reputation for losing his temper. He was feared not only by his rivals but also his teammates. Millions of people loved him but also hated him. He was the best, unstoppable, and very strange. But not everyone knew why he was like that and what was happening outside the football field. Let me tell you the story of the most intimidating German goalkeeper. You are on the Foot History channel. Enjoy the video.
Sag ja Eier, wir brauchen Eier.
Oliver Kahn is a German football player who was a goalkeeper, 8-time German champion, 6-time German Cup winner, European champion, winner of the UEFA Champions League, UEFA Cup, and Intercontinental Cup. Gorilla, Bulldog, Neanderthal are just a small part of the nicknames that the public and the press called Oliver Kahn for his appearance. At first, even in his native Bayern, bananas and insults from fans flew at the goalkeeper. Can you imagine what it was like for Oliver as a child? After all, children can be even more cruel. Kahn has had a malocclusion since childhood. The lower jaw is pushed forward a little, which is very noticeable. In addition to this, he has had problems with diction, which is why Oliver spent his entire childhood in the offices of speech therapists. We all went to school and have a rough idea of what happens to children who are not like everyone else, and usually they have two options, either to put up with all the ridicule and insults or to defend themselves by constantly getting into fights. Oliver always chose the second option. His whole life was spent in constant struggle, which undoubtedly hardened his character. At some point, it even seemed that it was too much. He saw rivals in all his teammates. It was in the club of his hometown of Karlsruhe that Kahn began to appear in the headlines that defined his personality for many years to come. One of his fellow goalkeepers told local reporters that he refuses to share a room with Oliver because he is afraid that he will strangle him in his sleep. Another teammate admitted that Kahn considered anyone who wore gloves an enemy. It was his father, a former football player for Karlsruhe, that got him into the team. Do you remember how the careers of virtually all great and not so great goalkeepers begin? That's right, with the experience of playing as a fielder. Naturally, our hero was no exception, and at first actively played in midfield. Like his father, though Kahn Sr. played only 11 matches in Karlsruhe in 2 seasons. Young Oliver could have remained a midfielder if not for the collection of stickers of his future mentor, Sepp Maier, which his grandfather got him. The goalkeeper himself admits that there is not much natural talent in him. These words are confirmed by the fact that the goalkeeper has never been called up to the junior national teams. To achieve something, he had to work twice as hard. I have never been called up to various junior German national teams. It's just that none of the coaches knew about my existence, and it didn't bother me at all. I was thinking more about how to play in the starting lineup as soon as possible, Oliver recalls. The young goalkeeper got his first chance when he was 18. In his debut game, he missed 4 goals, and in the next 2 more. After that, Oliver had to wait for another 3 years to prove himself.
Immer 4 Tore gekriegt. Ganz gut, kann man eigentlich nicht zufrieden sein, aber man muss halt immer sehen, wie die Tore gefallen sind. Und war halt für ein Debüt eigentlich einigermaßen.
On October 10th, 1990, at halftime of the match with Bochum, his club was losing with a score of 2-0. The coach decides to release Oliver Kahn, who made some fantastic saves in the second half, with Karlsruhe winning the match 3-2. From that moment on, Kahn becomes the undisputed number 1 in the club. The German declared himself to the whole world in the 1994 UEFA Cup. The 25-year-old goalkeeper helped his team surprise Europe with an unexpected rise to the tournament final. Many fans remember his phenomenal game against Spain's Valencia. Karlsruhe lost the first match in Spain 1-3, but in the home match, Kahn seemed to catch an unforeseen inspiration that was passed on to the field players. On that day, Karlsruhe defeated Valencia 7-0.
Das ist gefährlich. Kahn!
Shortly after this game, Oliver was invited to the German national team, and at the end of the year, for the very first time, he was recognized as the best goalkeeper of the Bundesliga. Raymond Aumann was finishing his career that year, and the Munich players had their eye on the Karlsruhe goalkeeper. The transfer amount showed how serious they were, 2.3 million euros, a record amount for a goalkeeper in the Bundesliga at that time. So Kahn started his next season with the Bayern emblem on his chest. From that day, a new chapter of the Munich club's history began. Bayern fans did not immediately accept Oliver, let alone fans of other clubs. It just so happens that in Germany, fans of other clubs can't stand Bayern FC, and now they had such an unusual goalkeeper playing. A wave of ridicule and aggression immediately descended on the newcomer of the club. Quite often, various objects flew from the stands at him: lighters, bottles, and sometimes bananas. All this could break any other football player, but not Kahn. He, on the contrary, was perfectly familiar with these sorts of situations and knew exactly how to conduct himself. This attitude only motivated him. His words before the decisive match with Hamburg only confirmed this. The whole stadium will be against us. The whole of Germany will be against us. What could possibly be better? Taunts in his direction were not the only problem in the debut season. The team had a bad start to the year, missed a lot, and in the 15th round the goalkeeper tears his ligaments and is out for 4 months. Kahn gave a pretty simple reaction to the situation. It's okay, you just need to work hard and everything will be fine. After Kahn got over his injury, he regained his place in the starting lineup and was the undisputed #1 for the next 13 years. And for the audience, he turned from a gorilla and a Neanderthal into a titan, a volcano, or just an Ollie. Kahn was huge in every sense of the word. At his peak, he was truly a world-class goalkeeper, and all thanks to his obsession with becoming the best. I like playing at Bayern, and not only because it's the strongest and most titled club in the country. We are not only disliked, we are envied and hated. And I like it when people hate us. It gets me going, stimulates me to be the best, just to get them back.
Arnold, der immer stärker wurde, und somit Oliver Kahn.
The goalkeeper reached the peak only by the age of 30, and his first tournament as the main goalkeeper for the national team was at 31. All these years, the German gave 200% every day. The passion for victory boiled in him even at this age. He just hated losing. To understand how much, you can remember a story that happened not so long ago. Kahn took part in a charity event in which children kicked him a penalty. Each goal cost a certain amount of money, which then had to be transferred to the fund. And the Bayern legend Oliver Kahn did not allow to score a single goal. The goalkeeper has always taken the game very seriously. However, his attitude to the game, victory at any cost, had a sad effect on Kahn. After losing in the Champions League final in 1999 to Manchester United, he had severe depression, which he recalls in a documentary dedicated to Bayern. According to the German, he could not even find the strength to go down the stairs and go to training. He was so emotionally overloaded after that season, in which, by the way, he was recognized as the best goalkeeper in the world. Moving up over and over, but such an attitude is dangerous. You cannot see where it can lead you. Higher and higher, further and further, but you are still unhappy. At some point, you can no longer go from tension to relaxation, depression, emotional burnout. It all comes together, says Kahn. Another distinguishing feature of Oliver was his aggressiveness and determination. There are many compilations of his antics on the internet, which at first glance seem uncalled for. However, he wasn't some kind of savage. There was method in his madness and thoughtfulness in his ferocity. He rarely acted rashly. There was discipline in his aggression. He was the one who used his qualities to inspire confidence in his partners, scare the opponent, and somehow influence the course of the match. Imagine how teammates feel when a golf ball is thrown at their goalkeeper, and instead of writhing in pain and showing his weakness, he is ready to tear everyone apart. He encourages his team and shouts to them, come on, go ahead, everything is fine, get going." This confidence cannot be transmitted to the players of his team, and knowing that such an impenetrable person stands behind you, the players felt much more confident. I often use body language to show the team my full presence and command respect, or even better, fear to my opponents. Goalkeepers need an element of madness. Who else is going to stand there and let people throw various objects at themselves and still think is great? After the 2001 Champions League final, Kahn demonstrated to the world that his heart was not made of stone after all, and he himself is not iron. In the penalty shootout, Bayern were stronger than Valencia. The German deflected 3 penalties, which helped Munich to win this trophy for the first time since 1976. Instead of celebrating the victory, Oliver went to console the goalkeeper of the Spanish club, who was sobbing with resentment. For this act, he received a prize from UEFA for fair play. At the end of that season, Kahn was again recognized as the best goalkeeper in the world. Perhaps the most impressive achievement of Kahn was his first appearance at the World Cup as the main goalkeeper of the German national team. He was 33 years old at that time. Germany entered the tournament in Japan and South Korea, with the national team clearly on the decline. They were defeated in the quarterfinals of the 1998 World Cup in France, and could not even get out of the group at Euro 2000. Usually when describing historical events, especially in sports, achievements are slightly exaggerated, but in this case it must be admitted that Germany would never have reached the final if not for Oliver Kahn. For 6 matches, the German national team gave up only 1 goal, and in the playoff series they won all the games with a minimum score only thanks to the impressive performance of their goalkeeper. At such tournaments, the award is usually given to the best player of the tournament before the final, and it became Oliver Kahn. Never before and after that have goalkeepers been recognized as the best. However, all efforts were crossed out by a single mistake that almost broke him. 10 minutes later, Ronaldo scored again, securing Brazil's 5th World Champions title. Shortly before this fateful mistake, Kahn tore a ligament on the ring finger of his right hand, which may have played a role in the treacherous rebound of the ball. But the goalkeeper did not make excuses, saying that it had nothing to do with what happened, as after the final with Manchester, the goalkeeper was experiencing severe depression. On this basis, he had problems in his family, which were discussed by the entirety of Germany. He was regularly punished by the police for speeding. He started to cause trouble and make mistakes in matches. It seemed that Kahn's career had hit rock bottom, but the Titan still found the strength to get back on his game, which allowed him to take part in the home World Cup at the age of 37, where he again demonstrated his human qualities. Before the start of the tournament, the head coach of the national team announced that the first number of the team would not be Kahn, and it wasn't about age, because both goalkeepers were born the same year. It's unpleasant. Until recently, I was convinced that I would play. It was difficult to go to the bench every time. I watched the game trying to visualize the match, and then I returned to the locker room as soon as possible, Oliver Kahn said in his interview. The main goalkeeper was Lehmann, with whom Oliver had a mutual disliking, and neither of them hit it. For many years, Jens could not become the #1 goalkeeper of the national team. He did not hesitate to criticize and insult Kahn in the media. Lehmann said that Kahn should deal with family problems first, otherwise it prevents him from playing as usual. Oliver answered journalists' questions by saying, "Who is Lehmann?" But before the penalty shootout with Argentina, Oliver Kahn found the strength to approach Jens and wish him good luck. This moment was caught on TV cameras and looked very courageous. At the same tournament, Oliver played his last match for the national team, 3-1 with Portugal in the match for 3rd place. As a result, the Germans won bronze medals, and 2 years later, the legend of Bayern and probably the whole of Germany held a farewell match. He managed to remain #1 for Bayern until the age of 39. The footage of the longtime captain leaving really touches the soul. When Oliver was already in the locker room, the stands were still chanting his name. It was very powerful, to the point of goosebumps. Now you can't even see that this is the same person who kept everyone who was on the same field with him in fear. After his career ended, he became a completely different person. In his interviews and books, he quotes Aristotle and Kant. He became extremely balanced. For a long time, he worked as an expert on a sports TV channel, where he was held in the highest regards. Since 2019, he has been studying in the structure of the Munich club, and in June of 2021, he was appointed Director General of Bayern. Bayern. It will be a great honor for me to take this position. I thank the management of the club, headed by Uli Hoeneß, for their trust. We are closely connected with the club. It has greatly influenced my life, sport and economic success, loyalty to the fans, responsibility for the history and values of the club. This is what our club adheres to. In the future, I would like to develop these values together with the staff of the club. Oliver Kahn is a world-class player, and one of the first to delve into the psychological aspects of the game. He was undoubtedly one of the best goalkeepers of his generation, fierce and fearless, dedicated to his work. That was the legendary goalkeeper of Bayern and the German national team. I recommend checking out my video about unbelievable moments of revenge in football. How did Jose Mourinho humiliate Thierry Henry? How did Roy Keane ruin Erling Haaland's father's career? Watch and find out. I'll see you guys later.